Greetings and welcome back, one and all, to Stellaris and, of course, to the Blood Moon Coven. In the last episode, we went through an in-depth view of the Empire creation and rose the Blood Moon Coven up from its humble beginnings amid the sandy dunes of Aavak Prime as they took their first faltering steps out into the wider solar system, spilling out into the solar system, one might say, maybe eventually the galaxy and ultimately the universe itself, conquering and devouring all that should come in its way. Now, we spent a bit of time renaming loads of our ships in the last episode, and we're still building a few more. In fact, I think I failed to rename the ships themselves. I renamed the fleet previously. Now, that is actually a good idea. I may actually switch to renaming only the individual ships of things like science fleets and construction fleets, because they're fairly few and far between, whereas saving the names mainly for the fleets themselves or the ship classes, I'm not sure. We'll see. Initially, there's a lot of renaming with this kind of way that I've done it so far, and that is like renaming each individual ship, but later on it gets a little bit less hectic. But ultimately, we'll be dealing with numbers of ships like 40, 50, 60 in a fleet. It might get a little bit tiresome then. The spaceport at Aavak Prime has finished construction queue. Fantastic. We've got 80 minerals, and we're bringing in minerals reasonably fast. We've still got nothing here, though. There's no additional resources to harvest. This is actually quite a bit of a pain. Right. Well, I'm going to send out the Prime Swarm to start exploring the galaxy around our home. Right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have the Prime Swarm jump into all of these systems and just poke their noses in, basically. Find out what's in there. I want to know if there are any habitable worlds. I also want to know if there are any aliens that we may have to put to the sword or, you know, turn into egg sacs. Now, one thing you may have noticed... Ooh, wait. What did I just do? Am I bringing the whole group? No, good, good, good. Sometimes if you click on this, you select everything that's there, and that's not what we wanted to do. But in this case, you'll notice that it's almost like spokes moving out from a node, and that's how wormhole travel works. Instead of going to a star, then going to the next star, and so on and so forth, in kind of a long series of jumps, kind of a winding path, or I imagine it's very similar with hyperlanes. With wormholes, you have to jump back to a place that has a wormhole generator, and then jump back out again. So it does add a little bit of time in jumping to several systems in sequence, but in terms of actually getting to the systems, it's probably one of the fastest ways, because once you go through the wormhole, you immediately appear at the destination. There's no travel time in between, and they're already going back now. It does take a little bit of time based on how big the fleet was, how much time it takes to move back and forth, but when the wormhole is ready, they will simply appear back here like so, and then they can jump back and forth, and it's actually quite a swift way of moving around. Now, as for the Prime Swarm, we've got 3 new corvettes, the Asp, the Viking, and the Baloo. We're going to rename you. For the time being, I will continue with the each individual ship get a name system. This one will be the Sir Kivin. Now, what I could do is perhaps do this off camera in between episodes, like go through and rename all of the ships that we've constructed in that episode, all of the stations, so on and so forth. Black Sun has just got a level up. Fantastic. There's a little bit better at researching now. Well done, Black Sun. We will also have the Drake Aurum. And finally, the Baloo shall be rechristened the Ignisteer. There we go. That's actually a pretty strong name, the Ignisteer. I like it. Alright, there we are. Now, generally speaking, I'm probably going to have the game... Once I've covered all of the really basic mechanics, and I'm fairly certain that everyone's going to be able to understand what I'm doing if I'm doing it quickly, I'll be running the game at the maximum speed. But for now, we'll probably just keep it at fast or normal for the most part, unless there's combat going on, in which case I'll try and slow it down. I will attempt to not really pause the game too often, because it doesn't really benefit us in any particular way. Now, science ship is still researching Aavak, but we have found something over here. We have found a way that we can get some extra energy credits. Now, if we build a power plant on the surface of the planet, we could get that. or use a construction ship to build mining stations. Since we're not going to be able to colonize a gas giant, or I'm not sure if we'll ever be able to colonize a gas giant, for now, we're simply going to try and build a mining station. It'll cost us 67 minerals to do it. We can build terraforming station, observation posts, frontier outposts, etc, etc, etc. But we'll just go over there and build some little mining outposts. How are things going over here? We've actually covered quite a few. Now, some of these places, now that we've been there, we can go in and have a look. But some of them have got habitable. It is habitability 80%. It's a desert world. Ooh. Ooh. How about this one? It's an ocean world. Well, we can't habit an ocean world. We don't have the technology for inhabiting them. It's pretty much the polar opposite of what our species likes. Ooh. We found Alpha Menace. Hostile fleet present. Ye gads! We do not want to play with you. No, no, no. Thank you very much, but we'd prefer to not be here anymore. Please don't eat our face. Jump! Oh, they were far stronger than we were.
From time to time, our science ships will discover strange things while surveying worlds.
Okay.
These can be researched by scientists, but be certain their skills are up to the task.
Well, that's important because there is a fail chance, and the failures are pretty dire. Should the research effort fail, there is a small chance of losing either the scientist or the science ship. Or, if we're especially unlucky, both. So, yeah, you don't want to lose that. As much as I've impressed upon you, I hope, that leaders are important because they level up, they get better at their job, and, you know, when you lose one that's a very high level to something like this, it is a huge blow. Right, the system has been fully surveyed. Fantastic. Let's pause time here just for a second. In fact, actually, what I'll do is I'll just slow it down. We are going to research this. It's got 0% failure risk. I believe this always happens in your home system. During the survey of our home system, we found something on Al-Nukaira that did not match earlier observations made from our homework. Very well, Black Sun. Please research it. That's the anomaly. The system has been otherwise completely surveyed. Now, if we go to the Empire screen, we can actually get a little bit of info here.
Of our empire,
Very well.
with leaders and the different factions in separate tabs. It also lets us create and manage sectors.
Fantastic. Now, sectors. Creating a new sector allows us to designate a planet as a sector capital and add systems under its automatic control. We need to control at least 2 planets to create a sector. Now, I've not played with this at all. We can only have 2 of them from owned planets. I guess the more planets you have, the more sectors you can have. Now, there may be benefits to doing that, and we'll explore that through the game. We could possibly click on this to bring up information. There is like a help screen that brings up a wiki. But what we're going to do instead, we'll just have a look through here, the Leaders tab. We've already been here before, so we'll get rid of you. Generals, this is for armies, actual ground forces. We will be having lots of these because our race is kind of built up to be more of a ground assault race. And the factions, again, there's nothing really going on there. But if we go to government, this is going to have some really interesting stuff for us.
Here we can see our ruler and any related effects.
Oh, that coffee's delicious. Right, separate tabs that give a detailed overview of our budget and policies that can be enacted and information on the demographics of our nations. Now, the interesting thing here, the naval capacity. Naval capacity determines the amount of ships that an empire can effectively supply. Larger ships require a higher naval capacity than smaller ships. Now, basically, if we are operating underneath this amount, then generally our ships are going to cost the stated amount. I think there might even be a benefit if it's under it. But once you go over it, ships start costing increasingly greater amounts just to keep active. So you're going to start shelling out a lot more on your fleets. If you've pushed yourself beyond your naval capacity, you can increase this with research, and it's actually pretty important to do. Edict cost, edict duration. Now, we can actually put all sorts of edicts in place. If we have a look at the budget...
tallies our empire's monthly income and expenses in energy credits.
Indeed.
Here, we can also track a variety of effects that influence our economy.
Now, you can get sort of at a glance breakdown of this by hovering over the energy credits. In fact, you can do that for all of the things. One thing to really pay note here is it shows you how much you've stored out of how much you can store. It's not immediately obvious that there is a limit on this, but there is, and it's an important limit to keep in mind because if you're starting to hit it, you're flat out wasting. what you're producing. It will give you another warning when that happens, but you probably want to already be planning for it before that warning appears, because when it happens, it's probably too late for you to quickly react to it. So you want to be building silos and things of that nature, or just spending the stuff a little bit faster. Breakdown of monthly expenses. A detailed breakdown of what kind is modifying our economic situation as well. We don't want that to show up again.
Tab covers
Now this is interesting.
as well as empire-wide edicts, practices that can be enforced by spending some of our influence.
Indeed. There are often a few possible stances to take to any given policy, though we may be limited by technology as well as our ethos. Now, a lot of what we can do in here is going to be limited by the ethos we set up for our empire. Right, don't show that again. Also, how's the science ship doing? As soon as it's finished there, I'm going to have it going out and starting to properly survey some of these planets. Let's actually check out this world. What did we have in here? That is another desert planet. Oh, we've got some good possibilities around here. Okay, we found a natural formation on Al-Nukura, stunning in its geometrical perfection. This is surely a divine sign, marking our way out towards the stars. We should continue to investigate these sorts of anomalies wherever we get the chance. It will most assuredly grant us new knowledge and technology. Now, like I said, there always seems to be one in the system that you start in, and it gives you nothing, but just says, hey, you should pay attention to these things. They're pretty important. Praise be the divine! Right, now that we've done that, let's actually have a quick look. Where's that one? It is a tundra. Okay, we're not really that interested in that one, but I'm very interested in the worlds which have deserts. So, Azathoth, Black Sun, I would like you to take the Azathoth and survey this system, because we want somewhere where we can go and colonize as our fleet moves around. Now, back to the government screen. This, actually, I'm going to pause for this one because it's quite in-depth and I'm probably going to spend a little bit of time here. It's worth knowing how this all works. Edicts. You can have edicts on a planet, or you can have edicts on a whole kind of government scale. Edicts change stuff. Now, edicts on a planet are usually purchased and they'll last for a certain amount of time. So you just flat out pay up the influence straight off the bat, and then it's in effect for a certain amount of years. Here, we can have like empire-wide edicts that just flat out cost us upkeep, and they never turn off. But they'll always have a downside as well. For example, if I focus on any of the researches, then all of the other researches get a minus 10%, whereas the research I'm focusing on gets a plus 30. Good if I'm trying to push something. For example, I kind of really want to be able to colonize, so why don't we go ahead and do that straight away? We want societal, yeah, it was society, wasn't it? Yes, it was society research. So push the society research, please. I'm okay with losing one of my influence per turn in order to really supercharge the speed that we're going to get the ability to colonize, because I don't want to stop doing that. Like, that's super important. I'm not even going to take time to look into other species unless they're really dangerous ones, and I absolutely need to have a look at that. I could, in fact, push this a little bit harder and up the research speed. I don't know if I really want to encourage free thought, honestly. It gives modifiers to the Empire. This edict encourages the populace to always challenge conventional wisdom, even if the path taken may lead them astray. No! Damn it. But up here, this is the part that is really important to have a look into. This is how we are going to... This is basically our empire-wide policies and how we're going to react to certain situations. For example, war economy. We can gear our industry and economy to seize assets from civilian sector in the times of desperate defensive wars. Downside is, when we're winning an offensive war, they get to reap the benefits from us. So I'm okay with it being static. Static war economy is unaffected by the vagaries of war. The current war score has no effect on production times or costs. Semi-static war economies allow the seizure of limited assets from a private sector for the sake of survival during defensive wars, with a corresponding loss of efficiency while winning offensive wars. And then dynamic, significant production bonuses while losing a defensive war. We may change this at some point. I'm not sure if it takes a long time to change. It's probably worth us knowing, I'll be honest with you. Maybe semi-static would no, I'm going to leave it as is. Slavery, well, yeah, we're allowing. Why wouldn't we want to lay eggs in our slaves? I mean, come on. Don't be stupid now. Slave procreation. Yeah, I allow the slaves to breed. I mean, if they breed particularly quickly, that just means a larger workforce to build our temples and our egg nurseries. Purge. The pops are unable to work and will ultimately perish, so we can basically purge a population. If it's allowed, we can't do it because we'd have to have the collectivist ethic or the fanatic collectivists. We simply can't select that right now. And I imagine the slavery stuff is only because we've got slavery tolerance. Orbital Bombardment. Light, limited, or full. Allows the full use of orbital weaponry with no regards for life on the surface. Allows the use of all but the heaviest of orbital ordnance, ensuring that the majority of civilians will survive even if their infrastructure does not. And light allows only the bombardment of identified military targets while keeping civilian casualties to a minimum. Honestly, now I know everyone sat there thinking, oh, well, it's Dark Aavak, it's definitely going to go to full. And that, while that would be efficient in terms of the least manpower necessary to crush a civilian population and conquer a planet, no, we're going to go for light. Do you wish to change the orbital bombardment to light within our empire? We will not be able to change our stance on this for 10 years. The policy will have these effects. Allows only the bombardment of identified military targets while keeping civilian casualties to a minimum. Yes, now I'm going to explain why we're going to do this. Because you can't lay eggs in dead civilians. You can, I guess, but that's just rank. That's abhorrent. Laying eggs in dead people? I mean, we may take slaves, we may force them to build our temples, we may force them to be walking wombs for our young, but we don't have to be uncivilized about this. I'm not going to bring up our offspring in cadavers, you barbarians. My lord. Right, migration. Basically, who can move around in our empire. The Empire will decide where the populace is needed most, or unrestricted movement is a privilege afforded only to our primary species, or free migration. All our citizens must be free to seek their own happiness wherever they so desire. We will never have free migration. I'm a little bit iffy about primary species migration, honestly. I mean, Leto showed us the way in Arrakis. I know this is Avakis, but, you know, suppressed the population for long enough. Then when he died, the population just exploded into the universe and effectively ensured the survival of the species. Maybe we should prohibit it. But no, for the time being, we're gonna allow the first class citizens, that is us, to move freely, but no one else. Right, resettlement allowed. Pops can be forcibly resettled between planets. We can basically force them to go where we actually need them, which is fine. Voting rights, no voting. There's literally not even an option for voting. It's like, no. Voting? What is this? Are you stupid? I think you're stupid. I think you're only good for laying eggs in now. Off to the egg chambers with you. Be gone, stupid one. Bloody voting, next L1. Rights. I was going to say human rights, but that wouldn't actually make any sense. Leadership. Primary species only. Yeah, well, that seems to make sense to me. First contact protocol. Peaceful. We will allow no hostile action to be taken against unknown life forms and only retaliate if we are to be attacked. Or aggressive. Unknown dangers may hide amongst the stars. To ensure our continued survival, we must be ready to strike without hesitation. Yes. We are going to be, if we've met you and we haven't specifically decided that you're not to be murdered yet, heavy emphasis on the yet, then we will murder you straight away. Okay, so that's, those are our policies. It was worth going over because initially, it can be fairly interesting to see how you're limited by your ethos, if nothing else, and getting all of that set up. Especially with the edicts as well, because now that's hopefully going to increase this. It's down to 36 months, which is a little bit more palatable. Demographics isn't going to show us too much yet.
Makeup and spread of our empire's populace.
Okay. It just gives us information. Really, there's only one species here right now, so it's not going to show us too much. Right. Sorry, we have encountered some form of alien vessel, the Gamma Menace. Very well. I would like to go and find out what this is. Oh, you get it. That's actually got a lot of power. Yeah, it's got more power than we have. We'll probably be able to take it out, but I want you to finish having a look around for now. We've found a lot of things. Right, complete the construction of a mining station. Well done, you. Let's go and have a look. I believe I can actually rename this, but I'm not really sure. I really should.
Mining stations are used to extract the minerals and strategic resources of the object they orbit.
Okay. You know what? It does look kind of awesome. Alright, we're going to rename it, but this is a bit crazy. Right. It is going to be the Gecko Tank mining station. Long may you mine those energy credits for us. Ooh, mass extinction. Our first stumbling steps into the void beyond Aavak Prime were not motivated solely by curiosity, or a desire to conquer the unknown, or a need to leave our mark on the galaxy. The biosphere of Aavak Prime has undergone rapid changes in the past few centuries, and prominent scientists warn that Aavak Prime may be faced with the beginnings of a mass extinction event. This is the first time I've ever seen this. That's cyclical purging of life that is inseparable from planetary existence in the greater cosmos. A research plan has been put together to study a number of planets rendered uninhabitable by major astronomical incidents or planet-bound catastrophes. We hope that by reconstructing these events, a similar fate may be avoided for Aavak Prime. That tripped me up a bit. And the Dappling race. It falls to you, as Arch Prophet of the Blood Moon Coven, to ensure that this expedition is carried out. Okay, for a dapper future. For a dapper future. How fantastic! I approve. Evilly, I approve. Right, okay, mass extinction event. We've got to have a look at all of these things. To avoid potential apocalypse on Aavak Prime, we must study the effects that major calamities have had on other planets. Well, this is super important then. I want all of these places tracked on my map so I can go there and check them out. Chilly Planet, Desolate Planet, Noxious Planet, Burn Planet, Broken Planet. Need to find where all these things are. Oh my goodness, really? Oh, that's no good. Oh, wait. I should be able to build a wormhole and jump from there to there. Okay, we're good. We're good. But we're going to have to expand fairly quickly in order to get out there. Oh, that was not part of my plan. I'll be honest with you. Okay, well, we've started early, I guess. Right. Blood Moon, Blood Moon, I mean, Azathoth, I don't want you over there. I want you over here instead. Move here. We need to go to this system specifically and research it. Okay. Right, the construction ship is currently just sat there. Oh, really? Where are you off to? Okay, it's in motion. Righto, that's fine. We are going to need to drop a wormhole over there, but I do kind of need for the Prime Swarm to get there first. Where's the Prime Swarm going next? Prime Swarm, you're probably already going to be on your way there, but I would actually prefer you to just go there straight away. Something is happening over there. I'm not sure what it is. I'm not sure I want to know. Let's increase the speed a little bit. Come on. Right. The planet of interest in this system is covered in layer upon layer of dense ices of varying composition. Apparently it was once a home to a more varied and pleasant biomes. A special project has been issued to investigate this possibility.
Situation log updated.
Get down there right now and do this research project for me. Now, there's no particular failure condition on that one, so we're safe to let them just go and do it. That's an ocean world there. Very well. Now you can go about your regular business. Yes, actually, yeah. You go ahead and do that. I'm going to have the Alien move over there and construct a warp gate. Now, to construct a warp gate only costs 75 minerals, so we're easily going to be able to do that. What on earth is that thing just moving over there? It looks terribly dangerous. It was just pinging for ages. Right, encounter in Hodus. We've encountered some form of alien vessel in Hodus, the Delta Menace. Really? Where is it? That is an actual spaceship. We need to initiate a special project against the Delta Menace. You know what? It's a single spaceship. But... well, that's unfortunate. Our fleet just left. Which means... oh, no, you're okay. We've encountered some form of alien vessel. Epsilon Menace, interesting. Let's go and have a look at this one. That one actually isn't so rough for us to try and take on, actually. But I would really like you to get back there to back up our constructor, because I would desperately, desperately like to build a wormhole station. I don't think it really matters too much where you build it, but I'm going to build it about here. That's fine. Just, like, really close. Just go ahead and get this fixed up for me, please. Thank you. Right. How are things going down here? How long is this going to take? You're almost done, actually. Excellent.
Project complete.
Right, and a natural shift in the atmosphere's chemical makeup resulted in the slow but irresistible onset of an ice age, one that began before the formation of the Blood Moon Coven and is likely to persist long after our passing. The exact cause remains unknown, but probable explanations include failed terraforming attempts or even intraplanetary terrorism. Some of the more radical elements within the scientific community on Aavak Prime suggest that the dramatic climate shift may have been brought on by the unchecked emission of gaseous industrial byproducts into the atmosphere. Ah, damn that global warming. Well, and ultimately global cooling, but, you know, they're kind of tied together. This view is confined to the scientific fringe, as it is unlikely that any race intelligent enough to achieve a full industrialization would be stupid enough to accidentally wipe themselves out. Oh, taking a dig at us, are you? I see. Probably reasonably fair to do. Okay, well, let's go back, since we've... How long is this going to take? Actually, it's not that far off. And once we've done that, we're going to have to jump over probably to there. We might be able to get over there fairly quickly, but it'll take us at least another setup of a warp gate before we can do that. So go ahead, go back there and start surveying. How long until we've got this? Only 17 months. That is actually super, super good. We're not going to worry about these until that time again. Right, we're going to have the Prime Swarm follow our construction ship for now, I think. There we go. We can now jump over there. So, Prime Fleet, in fact, all fleets in this area. I would like you first to jump there. Actually, no. Can we not reach it? Oh, it's just outside, you scoundrel. Oh, well. At least we'll be able to reach it. That'll do us for now. Okay, so you guys can jump over there and then set things up. There we go. Wormhole activating, and they're gone. Right. Oh, my lord. They've actually got a fleet here, and it's bigger than ours by a fair margin. Well, that is unfortunate, because we kind of need to go through this area. One way or t'other, we are going through. But that is much, much larger than a fleet that I would like.
Capital of our empire.
You've already told me this.
Here we see
already told me this too.
This is where we manage all
And we've already seen that. There we go. You shouldn't pop that information up anymore. Okay, we just flat out... We might be going to war straight away. Ah, that is unfortunate. That is very unfortunate. But we could start poking them a bit, but I'm not sure we want to poke the bear right now. Okay, how about... For now, we're going to retreat our forces, and we're going to go in a different direction and start making our way out over there. But we are going to have to go through them in order to get there, unless we can possibly jump from here across. That might be another option, but there's no guarantee that these systems aren't going to be under their control anyway, which does make things a little bit rough for us. So we've actually been set out with a fairly difficult project. We've got basically a time limit on our survival right from the onset. Thankfully, we're pushing this as hard as we can to try and get our colonizations going. Right, we briefly detected some unusual energy readings emanating from this planet. It might have been a glitch in our system, or it could be a sign of something else. I'm going to leave it for now because there's a 22% chance that you will die. And right now, I flat out need you to do stuff for me. So yeah, don't do anything necessarily stupid. But there we are. We're already all the way over here, and that's the joy of having warp drive. So the last thing we're going to be doing here is we're going to be setting up another wormhole right there. But the first thing we're going to do before we wrap up the episodes, we need to rename this wormhole generator. Is it the Gato? No, we're not changing that. The Gato generator? That's amazing. Let's simultaneously a reference to Chrono Trigger, and it's a pun. It's a Gato. It's a wormhole. Ah, so good. No, that one's not getting renamed. That one has earned its place. Right, but that is going to be it for the Blood Moon Coven for this episode. I hope you've enjoyed and will be joining me for the next, where we're going to see if we can possibly get to all of these systems and survey them. Hopefully they're not going to be under the influence of any particular empire, so we're not going to have to fight any wars to get there, because that's going to take time. But in the meanwhile, whilst that's going on, once we've got the resources, we're going to start building some more corvettes, because we are really going to need them. Oh my lord. But that'll all have to happen in the next episode. Once again, thank you very much for joining me. Any comments or feedback, warmly welcome down below, and a like on the video lets me know you want to see more Stellaris in the future. But until then, do take care.